The battleground called America sees one skirmish after another, but who is fighting for faith, family, and flag? Charles Benninghoff, and here he is with today's action plan to defeat the forces of globalism.
Now that tax day is come and gone once again, I hope you're good and mad about America's incomprehensible tax laws. The instructions to fill out your taxes now run hundreds of pages long, and those instructions are so complicated, no one really understands them. Even the IRS Commissioner himself, a trained and super-educated tax lawyer, needs to hire a tax specialist CPA to complete his annual tax return filing burden. Americans who want tax reform want it now, and we've demanded tax reform by electing Donald Trump to the White House. Remember, one of President Trump's biggest promises was to make tax reforms that rival the cuts that took place under President Reagan. But the GOP-led Congress under House Speaker Paul Ryan is purposefully stopping any progress on tax reform because, in my humble opinion, Ryan's big-dollar donors are getting filthy rich off the tax break that Ryan has written into our laws just for their benefit. Ryan wants the contributions we here at Pray For Us call them bribes. He wants those contributions flowing hot and heavy, even more than he wants tax relief for average Jack and Jill American taxpayers like you and me. Paul Ryan was promising that a tax reform package would be passed in the House before August. But now, after he's heard from his solicitors and his depositors and his bribers, he wants to have it on his own pushed all the way forward to indefinite. Today, I'll be talking about the need for an overhaul of our tax code in America. I'll let you know what Paul Ryan and his elitist fatcat team are doing right now instead of working on tax cuts. Here's a big hint. Guess who's goofing off in Europe as you watch this? And I'll let you know how you can join in the fight to demand tax reform. When we all speak out to Congress and make our demands known, Congress usually listens. How do I know this? Because our network of Patriot activists has a proven track record of pushing Congress to put America first. The Obama administration attempted, for one example, to ban AR-15 ammunition back in 2015 by unlawfully changing the legal definition of the term armor-piercing. AR-15 ammo has always previously been exempted from that definition because the AR-15 is really a glorified squirrel rifle. That's true. It only shoots a .22 caliber bullet, nominally called a .223 bullet, but .223 and .22 are the same diameter. Our followers sent thousands of personal letters to Congress as well as public comments to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, which was going to implement the illegal Obama ammo ban. And our followers and other patriotic Americans made the ATF and the Obama administration back down. Yes, we did. We are making a difference in preserving faith, family, and flag in America, and we would love to have you on our team. You can join by clicking the subscribe button on this video and subscribing to my YouTube channel, or click the banner across the top of the screen at any time you see it, which will take you to my website where you can sign up for our daily action newsletters. When you click on that banner, this video stops. You go to a new page. As soon as you fill out the form, shut that page, come right back here and finish up this video. You don't have to worry about hearing the end of this message. And you know what? There's no cost to you to join, and you can opt out at any time, as every email I send to you has an unsubscribe link. Now, let's talk about the huge mess that is otherwise known as U.S. tax law. When I first graduated from college, believe it or not, I went to work in a mainline CPA firm as a tax expert. In those days, the standard income tax reference consisted of 3 loose leaf folders. Now that standard is closer to 15 volumes. And that doesn't even include the income tax variations like estate tax and gift tax and excise taxes and all these other taxes they've come up with. That's totally insane total government bureaucratic depravity. The tax code itself is now, you won't believe this, it's 74,608 pages long, according to the Washington Examiner. It wasn't only 40 years ago that we had just one book of taxes. One! Count it, O-N-E. Now how many we got to hold 74,000 pages? Ridiculous. You know, every one of those pages contains loopholes for the fat cats, a way to cheat the government, a way to cheat American taxpayers. We need tax reform. And of course, the IRS can send you to jail or destroy your life in some other fashion if you make but a single mistake on one of their stupid, complicated forms that even the IRS chief can't figure out how to complete. If you feel like the tax laws are incomprehensible, you're not alone. A story on MarketWatch.com found that more than half of American adults received an F on a quiz on basic tax law. 57% of the taxpayers don't even know what a W-4 form is. 59% didn't know what the tax filing deadline was this year. 39% of Americans don't know what tax bracket they're in. The list goes on about Americans' inability to handle this tax code. It is insane. The tax laws are so complicated, as I mentioned before, that even the IRS Commissioner can't do his own taxes. Take a listen to a talk that Obama's IRS Commissioner, John Koskinen, gave at the National Press Club just a couple of weeks ago. Listen up.
I'm just like everybody else. Confused a little by the tax code. I do not do my own tax return, even though I went to law school, took tax courses. But the code, compared to when I was in law school, is phenomenally more complex and more difficult to understand.
What chance do the rest of us have when even the IRS Commissioner, who's a licensed, experienced, and highly intelligent tax lawyer, thinks the tax code is too complicated for even him to do his own returns, in a legal manner, of course? President Trump wants the tax code reformed and simplified. He wants to reduce the number of brackets, lower the top marginal rates, and simplify everything so that your tax form will basically fit on a postcard. So what is the Congress doing about it? Yes. You know, that postcard isn't a far fetch. It wasn't too many years ago that you could do your income tax return on a postcard and send it in. I don't know if they can do that now. Possibly they can if you're an illegal alien getting only welfare and making no other money. But we got to turn Congress on about this subject. House Speaker Paul Ryan says tax reform will have to wait, which really means, to me, he needs to collect more bribes, in the form of political contributions, of course, for as long as he can from the fat cat globalist tax evading corporations that are the mainstay of his elected livelihood. Maybe that was Ryan's plan all along, or maybe he's mad because Patriots spoke out and blocked his fake Ryan Care repeal bill. We were promised that a tax reform package would be pushed to the House before August, and now Ryan says Congress won't be able to get to it. Well, where's Paul Ryan today? By the way, is he working on that tax reform package? Yeah, right. He's in Europe. Paul Ryan and his leadership team are visiting NATO officials and other European leaders for several days instead of working on any American immediate priorities like tax reform. Hey, Paul Ryan, remember us back here in America, the country you're supposed to be representing? I'm sure that Paul Ryan is having a nice time visiting with Angela Merkel, talking about how they can bring in 1 million more unvetted Syrian refugees into the United States. Meanwhile, we have a tax code that runs more than 74,000 pages, and the private sector in America is being bled dry, while our congressional leaders are playing footsie with the non-paying NATO members. Makes you wonder what goodies those foreigners are bribing Ryan with, so he doesn't even try to get them to pay their NATO fair share. President Trump's Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, a former Goldman Sachs executive, now agrees with Paul Ryan. Where did they dig up these guys? This is time to can this guy, Mnuchin. Am I saying that right? M-N-U-C-H-I-N, Mnuchin. Anyway, Mnuchin says tax reform before August is, and I quote, not realistic. Mnuchin should be cracking the whip and working the Congress to make cuts a reality, but instead he's appeasing vested interests like Big Pharma, Goldman Sachs, and other 500 companies that pay too little or no corporate income taxes. And because of insane tax breaks, those companies are allowed to squirrel disproportionate chunks of money away in foreign countries, collectively in the trillions of dollars, and pay no U.S. income tax on those funds. This is why these chump change politicians are dragging their feet. They don't want the now endless supply of bribe money stopped. To those of us who are paying taxes to prop up the failing federal government, the Federal Reserve System, and even Goldman Sachs, well, Paul Ryan and Steve Mnuchin say, to hell with you. Well, I say back to them, to hell with you. Get to work. Solve our tax problems. President Trump promised the American people tax reforms, and we, the people, elected him to do so. That's your mandate, Congress. We did not elect Donald Trump so the House GOP leadership under Paul Ryan could go off on European vacations and avoid the responsibility of reforming our tax laws. We elected President Trump because we believed in his vision to make America great again. Congress needs to get with the program or get out of the way. The members need to hear from you, and only you, and they need to know that if they don't deliver on the tax reforms that we demanded, we will elect a new Congress in 2 years. The tax code is crippling America's economic engine, and we demand changes to the code, not trips to Europe. Here's how you can help affect these changes. Go to our action page today and start sending personal letters to Congress, starting with the House Ways and Means Committee. You can use our GEM system today to send letters to Ways and Means Committee, all the Republicans, the whole full House, or even to Senate too. Demand that they all get to work on drafting and passing the tax reforms that the American voters were promised. President Trump has explained the vision, but he can't impose changes on his own. It takes Congress to help. We, the people, have to speak out and tell Lion Paul Ryan to quit goofing off in Europe and start caring about America first. Stay tuned, because Bob Mallory will explain how to get to our action page on the next screen. This is Charles Benninghoff, signing off and wishing you freedom, fulfillment, and God's many blessings.
If you're on our action page on our website, use the form next to the video screen to select a program and send personal letters to Congress. If you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, click the icon appearing now to find the link to our action page, or check the video's description to find the link. Speak out today.